Hammocks, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven. Jerry is not here with us tonight. As we mentioned on our last episode, he is in Orlando, Florida, the happiest place on earth, not watching Panthers football, which at times is the saddest place on earth. Jerry did send in a voicemail we'll listen to here in a little bit, but let's not bury the lead here. Panthers lose this game 27-22 after a pretty exciting fourth quarter, pretty exciting comeback. I feel weird about this game. I really don't know what to think. I was fully prepared to come in here and completely blast Bryce Young, blast Canales, blast Tepper, and really, threaten to quit the podcast and all the things that I tend to like to do after getting beat down by this team over and over and over again. But I come away from this one feeling confused, oddly optimistic, yet knowing that this is not a good football team. Back to really not knowing if Bryce Young is the future, despite a pretty good second half from him. I mean, a really good second half from him. I'm not going to be glowing about everything he did in that second half like the announcers were in this game. I thought they went a little overboard with their praise of Bryce against what was a very soft defense for most of that second half. But Bryce took advantage of it, and my God, they almost won this game. Again, 27-22 is the final score. Panthers go down almost immediately 10-0 because of two Bryce Young turnovers, one on a sack fumble that ended up in the end zone. Cardinals score 7 points almost immediately without even touching the ball on offense. And then the next drive, Bryce throws an interception, off a, kind of getting hit, tosses it up. Bad decision. It gets picked, and the defense holds them to 3. Panthers are down 10-0 almost immediately. And at that point, the game plan goes out the window. You're reeling as a team, as a coaching staff. You're trying to figure out where to go from here. So hard to judge Dave Canales in this game. They didn't run the ball hardly at all, but again, you're down double digits almost immediately. Your natural inclination is going to be to want to throw yourself back into the game. Canales is still a young coach, young play caller, and still, kind of learning how to call a game, to manage a game. So he wanted to throw the ball or, to get back in the game. He did. And they did. The Panthers did get back in the game. The defense, I thought, was actually pretty good, really good, actually, in this game. They held the Cardinals, a team that should have been running the ball like crazy after being up 10-0, after being up 20-3 at halftime, after being up 27-3 after the first drive of the second half. They should have been running the ball every down with James Conner. And they didn't. For some reason, James Conner had 11 carries in a game where you were up 27-3. I think you can absolutely judge the Cardinals coaching staff on this game. They did a very poor job, honestly. They should have lost this game. They deserved to lose this game. Not to say the Panthers deserve to win this game, but the Cardinals definitely deserve to lose this game. So, but they did end up winning it. Panthers storm back in the second half. I say storm back. The Cardinals were playing, defense in a way to make sure that the Panthers use as much clock as possible. Back-to-back touchdown drives by the Panthers in the second half. Both 14 plays took up almost an entire quarter's worth of time, around 13 minutes. I mean, that's what you want to do when you're up 27-3 if you're the Cardinals. Unfortunately, they weren't able to hold the ball on offense very much. they, couldn't score after that first drive of the third quarter, excuse me. They couldn't sustain drives. They didn't run the ball. And the Panthers were able to score and then somehow get an onside kick. And then that final drive was just absolutely ridiculous. Flags all over the place. Panthers couldn't move the ball at all except for the refs helping them. I almost thought, hey, the NFL must have this thing scripted for the Panthers to win this game, and they're trying to figure out how to make that happen here in the fourth quarter. I don't actually believe that. But it was very strange. That final drive was just so bad from almost every conceivable, viewpoint. And the Panthers do end up coming up short. But I don't know. I'm having a hard time really coming to grips with how I feel about this team moving forward. Again, fully prepared to come in here and just absolutely rip Canales, Bryce, Tepper, the entire organization. But I don't feel that bad about this loss. I don't like losing. I really wish the Panthers would have won, but I kind of wonder, does this give Bryce a little bit of confidence moving forward? We'll see next week. Does Canales decide to maybe go a little more up tempo, a little, earlier, not waiting until you're down 3 scores. Try and get some points on the board earlier on. Get the offense moving more up tempo. I hope so. It feels like Bryce has been better in his NFL career at that style of play. So I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to play you guys Jerry's voicemail here that he left. Again, remember this was sent before the onside kick. So just kind of keep that in mind. But here's what Jerry had to say.
Hey guys, this is me, Jerry, coming from you, the happiest place on earth. Unfortunately, I'm a masochist and watched the Panthers game while I was here, and it basically stunk. The only positive is T-Mac looks like a legit number 1, while Princely looks also very, very good. So we'll see how this pans out, but I'll talk to you back on the next pregame. Bye.
So yeah, again, Jerry didn't see the final part of the game there, but overall, T-Mac did look amazing. T-Mac is a legit number 1. T-Mac's going to be a star in this league. He was absolutely the right pick. He's absolutely the right type of receiver that you want Bryce Young throwing to. He's silky smooth. He's smart. He's got great hands. He runs good routes. I wish he was a little faster. He'd have scored on that long pass play early in the game had he been as fast as, he who shall not be named, number 17 on this team. But that guy never gets the ball. So never catches the ball, at least. So yeah, T-Mac just couldn't be happier. 10 targets in this game, 100 yards, his first 100-yard game of his career. Congratulations there. You get it in his second ever start. That's stuff that superstars are made of. He's got it all. And that catch that he made, when he was out of bounds, but kind of skied, caught that thing with one hand and brought it down. It was so smooth. He's just so fun to watch. And I cannot wait to see him, as his career progresses. Xavier Legette, on the other hand, honestly, it would be fine if he's inactive next week. I think the offense runs so much better when he is not a focal point. He had 8 targets in this game. -2 yards was his contribution to this game. He is a bust. He was a first-round pick. He is a bust. I play Jimmy Horn Jr. Like Canales. I know you only want to play receivers who are above 6'3" or whatever, but play Jimmy Horn Jr. Like he is at least potential, whereas XL is waste. Nothing good happens when you throw the ball to Xavier Legette. I do not like watching him. I don't need to see anything more. I mean, he doesn't make things happen. He can't get open. He can't catch the ball. So that's all I'm going to say about Xavier Legette. I will throw some flowers over to Bryce and Tremaine, who had a bit of a coming out party here. Only 3 catches for 48 yards, but he had a really nice one-handed catch that I think saved Bryce Young from an interception earlier in the game, which would have been, I mean, really would have been terrible. It looked like Tremaine sort of snatched the ball out of the waiting hands of the defender. So nice job there. He had a couple other catches. Hunter Renfrow, 2 touchdowns in this game on 9 targets. Nice to see there. Filling in a little bit of that Adam Thielen role, but Thielen, better, at least last couple of years. But Renfrow becoming one of those reliable targets when you absolutely need a catch that Bryce feels like he can go to. So good job there. Remember, this is Hunter Renfrow, who Dave Canales thought was not good enough, not ready to play in an NFL game. He gets 2 touchdowns and 7 catches here. So I think you were wrong, Dave Canales. Jatavion Sanders, 7 catches for 54 yards in this game on 9 targets. I think he did have a drop. He had the one there in the second, or towards the end of the second quarter, that I don't know, man. I thought that was a catch, but they overturned it. But I thought I thought he had it. But I think he had another drop as well. But it was nice to see him going to him. Tremble had a little bit of welcome to 2025, 3 catches for 20 yards, and they think they all kind of came on the same drive. They were all right there together. Again, Chuba only 10 carries in this game. Rico 6 carries in this game. I thought Bryce, I would have liked to see him run the ball a little more. He only ran it twice. So 19 for the team for 49 yards. Terrible running effort. Again, they were down early, trying to throw themselves back in the game. But even there in the first half, they just couldn't get nothing going on the ground. Chuba did have a long of 14, but it just seemed like everything else was 2-3 yards and then nothing else. So good job by the Cardinals there playing the Panthers run game. But overall, I thought the Panthers defense played really well here. You saw Princely, he got the sack. Scorton, I saw it there a couple of times, making or getting close to the quarterback. He, I think, is officially only credited with 1 tackle. It will be really interesting to see the snap counts on this one. Certainly, Princely was out there more than he was week 1. Scorton, I don't know that I saw him out there a ton more than I did week 1. I think he played, 17, 18, 19% of the snaps or something week 1. Princely was 8. I think they're both probably around 20 to 25% in this game. Just off the top of my head, I really have no idea, but it seemed like that's about what I saw. Watch it be 50% or something, which would make me feel a little worse about their performances. But nice to see Princely get that sack. I think I saw him get close to the quarterback once or twice more. So he's the one that we felt like was going to come in and need a little more seasoning before he was ready to be an every down end, or edge. Scorton, I thought, would be a little more impact early in the season, but he got hurt, and you still wonder if he's suffering some effects from that. I don't know, but either way, it was good to see Princely get in there and get a sack. The corners played well in this game. I mean, they held Marvin Harrison Jr. to 2 catches. Michael Wilson had 1 catch. So their wide receivers didn't really do much of anything. But once again, the middle of the field where the linebackers and the safeties play was awful. Trey McBride, a good tight end, a really good tight end, but he had 6 catches. Elijah Huggins, another tight end, a couple of catches. I mean, well over 100 yards for those 2 guys. And then you had Trey Benson was their third leading receiver, or their third leading pass catcher, I guess, with 4 catches for 30 yards. So overall, I thought the defense played pretty well in this game outside of the middle of the field where we know the problems lie. Funny how Dan Morgan doesn't seem to be able to find that star linebacker that would really make a big difference in the middle of the field. Josie Jewell, losing him, he wasn't the best linebacker in the world, but he's certainly better than what we've got thrown out there week after week this season. So that was a pretty big loss there in the offseason. What else? This was an exciting second half, and you hope that you've got some confidence moving into next week against the Falcons. Big game, home opener. I hope that there's a good presence out there. I will not be going to the game, but I do hope that the folks who do go to the game show some support. Let's try and manufacture some kind of victory out of this. Would have been really nice to complete this comeback and start the season 1-1 after 2 road games, especially after the way that this one looked. But didn't happen. There are some positives, though. There are some positives. Bryce Young, 35 of 55. 55 passes for Bryce Young. Career high. 328 yards, career high. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Obviously also had the fumble. Sacked 3 times. I feel like he's drops back so far. I don't know. Again, it's hard to say. It's hard to say about Bryce because a lot of that was, quote unquote garbage time. I know it wasn't like fourth quarter down 40 points garbage time, but it was soft defense. It was let's let them move the ball if they want, but as long as they're taking up a ton of clock. That's what they were doing. But the Panthers were executing and able to move the ball. The announcers were just effusive with their praise on Bryce. I do think game situation has to play into some of the way that you feel about how Bryce played those. So I don't know. I don't know. Have no idea what to say about this game, the team moving forward. RJ from Twitter sent us a text message here, and I will find it right now. Going to be a long season. He sent that at about 4:20 after the first couple of turnovers from Bryce. And then towards the end of the game, sends another one, says, "We can't even win with the refs on our side," which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, it's unfortunate that even with all the kind of help that we got from the flags there in the fourth quarter, or that final drive that we couldn't make anything happen. I didn't really like. They didn't seem to look at T-Mac at all on that final drive. Bryce just was looking opposite side of the field every time he dropped back to pass there on that final drive. I would have loved to have seen them go to T-Mac a couple of times. Give him a chance. He's your best receiver by far. Give him a chance. I think they threw to XL at least twice. We did also get some comments from Jay, our buddy Jay. Going to be doing a State of the Franchise podcast week 4. Yeah, that might be the case. His comment for the show is, "I wish Jerry took us all to Disney World instead of this shit show." Again, that was prior to the final, few minutes of the game where the Panthers actually could have won. The Panthers could have won this game. They were this close to actually pulling this thing off and shocking not only the Cardinals, but Panthers fans as well. It was really interesting. And then he sends a few more messages, kind of talking about the anxiety that he had towards the end of the game. I mean, it's kind of nice, like feeling like being on pins and needles that there was actually a chance to win this game. That was a nice feeling for a little bit of this game. So, you hope that they figured something out, or maybe this instills a little confidence. Next week will be very interesting. Could be very interesting to see what happens. So let's look at a little bit of stats here. I'm not going to go too deep here, but as we mentioned, Bryce, his stats we talked about a little earlier. Chuba 10 carries, 38 yards. Rico Dowdle 6 for 9. He didn't look good at all in this game. T-Mac led the team in receiving, 6 receptions, 100 yards on 10 targets. Welcome. Oh, we love you. Thank you for being a Panther. Jatavion 7 for 54. Hunter Renfrow 7 for 48. 2 touchdowns. Again, really nice to see him kind of emerging as that Adam Thielen type possession receiver. Bryson Tremaine, we talked about, 3 for 48. Chuba 5 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. Another reception touchdown for Chuba. So nice to see that part of his game continuing to evolve. Tremble 3 for 20. Rico 1 for 10. And then, a scattering of other receptions. On the defensive side, mentioned the only sack in this game was from Princely. Again, who was it? Wanham got Kyler down behind the line of scrimmage, but I guess they had already determined Kyler as a runner at that point, so they didn't count that one as a sack, but did get a tackle for loss at least on that one. Pat Jones also a tackle for loss. A couple other tackle for losses here. Trayvon Moreg led the team in tackles with 9. We did have the one interception from DJ Wanham, so overall a good game from DJ Wanham, I thought. Poor game from Nick Scott. Really, any of the linebackers I thought had pretty poor games. Roseboom almost got a sack. Ends up leading to a 30-yard run from Kyler, which really extended that drive. Let's see. Ryan Fitzgerald, kicker, made his field goal and his one extra point. The 2-point conversion calls in this game I thought were pretty bad. It would have been nice had they made those 2. It really would have changed that final drive. You could have just kicked a field goal to win the game. Hell, even if they'd have made 1, they could have at least tied the game. So I really thought they missed opportunities there with the 2-point conversion attempts. And then Sam Martin, maybe player of the game, punter, got the onside kick and had a couple of nice punts. So good job there. Again, looking at Arizona, 17 to 25 for Kyler, 220 yards, a touchdown and interception. And then running the ball, James Conner, 11 carries for 34 yards. They locked him down. Good job. Kyler, 7 for 32, but 30 of those were on 1 carry. So outside of that, you're looking at 6 for 2. Pretty good. Trey Benson, 3 for 14. Overall, 22 carries, 82 yards. They did have 1 touchdown from James Conner, but hey, great job. I mean, they figured it out. They figured out how to stop the run, at least in this game. So nice job. As we mentioned, across the middle of the field, the Panthers are terrible. So Trey McBride led the team in receiving, 6 receptions for 78 yards. Elijah Higgins, their other tight end, 2 for 45. Trey Benson, running back, 4 for 30. Marvin Harrison, 2 for 27. And then, 1 reception each for another couple of guys. So corners, good job. Interior of the defensive line, good job stopping the run. Linebackers and safeties, bad job. Jalen Thompson led the Cardinals with 10 tackles. Again, they did have 3 sacks. Calais Campbell, 39-year-old Calais Campbell with 2 sacks himself. And then Josh Sweat had the other sack for the Cardinals. Looking at the team stats here, just real quick, 5 for 15 on third downs for the Panthers. That's not good enough. But defensively, 3 for 9 for the Cardinals. You'll take that. 3 for 4 on fourth downs for the Panthers. 1 for 1 for the Cardinals. 33 minutes, 15 seconds of time of possession for the Panthers to 26:45 for the Cardinals. You like to see that. Then penalties, it's felt like for a lot of the game, the Panthers were playing a very clean game. And then sort of towards the end there, it kind of got away from them. 7 penalties for 83 yards for the Panthers, 12 penalties for 96 yards for the Cardinals. And again, I felt like the Cardinals had more penalties kind of throughout the game. The Panthers, I thought, played a pretty clean game until the end there. The Panthers were 3 for 4 in the red zone, and the Cardinals were only 2 for 4. But the story of this game is the turnovers. The story of this game is Bryce Young's turnovers in the early part of the game to set the team down, and they just weren't able to complete that comeback. So Bryce has to do a better job of holding on to the ball. That is your takeaway from this game if you're Dave Canales, if you're Bryce Young. Another takeaway is don't throw the ball to Xavier Legette. Nothing good happens. Let's activate Jimmy Horn Jr. Let him play. I'd rather have XL inactive for games at this point. He does not contribute to winning football. He just doesn't. He is not a good receiver. He can't catch. He can't get open. As fast as he is, as big and strong as he is, it doesn't matter. He can't do it. So I'm done with Xavier Legette. I'm out. Completely out. What else here? Heroes and zeros, I guess. Hero of this game's got to be T-Mac. His first 100-yard game of the season. I'm waiting for him to get that touchdown. I was really hoping that they'd get the ball to him in the end zone in this game. That's coming. I think he's going to be 1,000-yard, barring health, he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year, maybe like 1,200 yards or something. But I could see him, maybe having 4 or 5 touchdowns. But I think as his career progresses, he's just going to be a guy that's going to be, 1,500 yards. I could see him having like a Mike Evans type career in terms of just consistency. He just seems like that kind of guy. So really, really excited to have him on the team. And then in terms of the zero, for a while it would have been Bryce Young, but he played, exceptionally well in the second half against the defense that he was playing against. Wasn't able to kind of complete it, but maybe we just give it kind of to the Panthers, safeties and linebackers. I don't even want to give it to Dave Canales just because I feel like, and he certainly doesn't get a pass, but it's just tough when your team turns the ball over twice in your first 2 possessions and you give up 10 points. It's just hard to come back from that. It really is. And they almost did. So, I even have to give them a little bit of credit for second half adjustments. Certainly they worked on the getting the play calls in. Canales, was seemingly able to get the calls into Bryce a lot faster in this game. They had only one delay of game on the offense. I think they had one, when they were about to punt. That was on purpose to move the ball back a little bit, give them more room. But I didn't see like every play like last week, them getting down to 0 seconds on the play clock. That seemed to be a concerted effort to get those calls in a little earlier. And the offense seemed to flow a lot better, once they got kind of going after those first 2 quarters, essentially. They were able to move the ball really well there in the second half. Against a soft defense, sure, but they were able to do it. So we'll take it where we can. So those will be the zeros, I guess, will be the linebackers and the oh no, you know what? Xavier Legette, he's the 0, obviously. What am I thinking? Yeah, he's terrible. We might even start calling this the Xavier Legette 0 of the game award. Just not a good football player. I'll be honest, guys. Without Jerry here, my flow was a little off, and I'm gonna kind of look here. Okay, so don't think we won. I don't know if we won our Gambler for the Children bet or not. We'll have to look into that and report back on Wednesday and see if we were able to get that. Other NFC South games, the Falcons are playing right now, so we don't know the outcome of that one. The Bucks play tomorrow, and the Saints lost 26-21 to the 49ers. So we're going to wrap that one up. A little bit of a shorter episode today, but again, I don't know. I don't know what this means moving forward for this team. I hope that it's positive. I hope that the Panthers are able to kind of make this be a catalyst moving forward. We'll see. Shout out to Brad, who I met at work, who recognized me as I was playing foosball against a couple of my former coworkers. So shout out to Brad. It was nice to meet you. Let's see, like and subscribe. Jerry usually does this. Like and subscribe. If you want to reach out to us on Twitter, it's at Meowmix Podcast. You can call or text into our line. Hang on, I'm going to get that number really quick. My apologies here. It is 980-494-0071. That will also be in the description of the podcast and the YouTube videos, so make sure you reach out to us there if you'd like. Send us an email, meowmixpodcast@gmail.com. Or what was it? mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. Excuse me. Again, Jerry usually does this. So until Wednesday, hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe out there and keep pounding.